Hi, I'm Natalie Goldman and I'm the CEO of FlexCareers.
And I'm Ariane. I'm a partner at FlexCareers.
And today we wanted to take you through some of our key takeaways of the roundtable series that we've been running this year at FlexCareers, together with our clients across Australia and New Zealand. We're in a really fortunate position to be able to see the shifting nature of the market, and today we wanted to share with you some of those key themes. So one of the things that I've taken away the most from the roundtables is the fact that we've really been in a position to connect in with so many different clients. Wouldn't you agree? Across so many industries.
So many industry sectors and role types, and everyone's finding the same challenges.
And that's really fascinating because no matter the size of the organisation, the industry, whether it's a corporate, government, not-for-profit, everyone's really facing those same challenges. And so to have the opportunity to connect in, share those challenges and hear what everybody's doing to address those challenges it's literally an honour. But at the same time, it's really great to hear it because then everybody gets to learn from one another. So that would be my big takeaway. What about for you?
I think the luxury of going into so many organisations and actually supporting them and normalising and embedding flexibility has just been such a wonderful year for us. And we're so fortunate to be able to have that opportunity.
I second that.
I think the main key themes that we're finding from the flexibility of what's happened this year is very much around the wellness of employees. And the early adopters are seeing from a flexibility perspective that have really embedded it and normalised that sick leave's going down, stress leave's going down, their employees feel more empowered because they're integrating their work and life. And so from a diversity strategy and diversity and inclusion strategy, wellness is coupled in with flexibility because of the increase of productivity from their employees.
The other thing that I've actually seen is the fact that less and less people are asking about why we need to do flexibility. They're actually getting the business case. Now the kind of questions we're getting a lot of is more around how do we do this? What's best practice, whether that's in my industry or generally. So we're finding a lot more organisations are actually coming to us to really wanting to do a really robust strategy and really in-depth program, not just a quick tick and flick because it's the done thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the commitment from executive teams right down to senior managers and the hiring leads are very much, they're committed to working flexibly themselves. And so they can see the benefits. A lot of the coaching and training we've done has been really how does a leader manage themselves flexibly, but their team and the individual, and what are the best practices of actually managing differently.
Yeah, I'd say one of the other really interesting themes is around the conversation around diversity and inclusion. So that title's shifted. So many organisations have actually changed it to inclusion and diversity as opposed to diversity and inclusion. And that's a really conscious decision because when you actually focus on inclusion, the diversity just becomes part of it. And the other thing I've seen is that many organisations are now not even using the word diversity, it's just inclusion manager. And the other thing which relates to that is a number of our clients have started looking at integrating the talent recruitment role with inclusion. So you're having the talent recruitment manager, talent inclusion manager, because what's really interesting about that is inclusion often is an internal conversation, yet often what attracts people into an organisation is their employer value proposition, which inclusion is a really big part of. So from that perspective, when you're then looking externally into the marketplace, recruitment is the natural place for it to go. So those kinds of themes have been really key for us this year. Did you say anything else?
I think also the use of technology and how people are using technology, which is enabling flexibility and being able to have meetings online, having Zoom meetings, business for Skype, and even with their customers, making sure that they're working flexibly themselves. So sharing their information, whether they're utilising virtual meetings rather than face-to-face meetings. So it's just working, it's a different way of working as opposed to working differently.
Yeah, so true. Some of the common challenges that we're seeing in organisations are really commonplace across all organisations and industry sectors. One of the main ones that continues to prevail is around getting that really senior buy-in, and that the decision around flexibility needs to come from the top. And that hasn't really changed very much over the years, but it's still, I would say, something that I'm seeing as a real challenge for a number of organisations. Once the organisation actually has that buy-in from the senior leadership, it's just like a domino effect. Things just tend to fall into place really quite quickly.
And I think, obviously the role modelling and there's case studies and storytelling of what's actually working for that individual or the team or the senior manager or the leadership, that it just becomes a normal way of working. And where we've found that it breaks in the past is that obviously if the executive team haven't bought into it, that next level down, there's absolutely no way that they're going to work flexibly. Therefore, it's a run-on effect with the rest of the team.
Another challenge that we're seeing is the conversation around consistency. So in the roundtables, as well as in the work that we've been doing with organisations, this is coming up time and time again as a real challenge. And by consistency, what that means is that it's pockets of flexibility or lack of flexibility happening, as opposed to it being company-wide where flexibility is just embedded and normalised. And often it's the managers who are the ones that are blocking the changes in that organisation. And so bringing them on the journey is really important. So creating that consistency of availability, flexibility is another one. But I would say consistency is a really big challenge and a really big theme.
And I also think particularly the talent team have been having a lot of challenges because candidates are becoming quite bold and actually asking at screening stage through a recruitment process, what are the company's policies or guidelines or what's the flexibility in this role? And the organisations that are doing it really well are actually asking that initial question at screening stage and asking the candidate what form of flexibility you're working at the moment. If you were going to work flexibly, what would it look like? And making sure that that's filtering onto the hiring manager, so then there's no shock through that interview process.
And I think another challenge, although it hasn't necessarily been verbalised by many clients, but something that I've actually observed is the rate of change that the needle around flexibility is shifting. So just further to your point around candidates being really bold, a few years ago, the conversation by candidates was, I'm going to feel like I'm potentially discriminated against, whether I'm a man or a woman, around flexible working, because it boxes me into a certain type of person, position, etc. And so now it's a candidate-driven market. So I think what we're seeing is the marketplace is really shifting so fast. And companies are now talking about flexibility and really needing to embed it super fast. And the challenge there is you can't just do it overnight. We're talking about proper cultural transformational change here, where we're looking at not just getting buy-in from the top, but having really robust systems in place, looking at the technology to support the different types of flexibility, training managers up, procedures, guidelines, toolkits, checklists, all those kinds of things. And we've been working with so many different organisations on all of those things, but it's something that I think more and more organisations are there putting up their hands and reaching out to us saying, we have to do this, partly because our competitors are doing it, but we're also missing out on great talent because they're being so demanding around flexible work, and they're finding great roles in other companies, often their competition, and they're missing out.
Absolutely. So it's not just used as a attraction, but also retaining top talent. And what we're finding is people that are working flexibly are actually more productive because they know that if they're not productive working flexibly, that arrangement won't stay. So they're really very good communicators, they're time managers, they're learning how to communicate what's going to work for them, but also what's going to work for the team, the manager, the organisation, but also putting the customer top of mind.
Yeah.
From our perspective, 2019 and flexibility, I think it's organisations are really coming to us all the time, every day and every sector, because they know they actually need to be doing it and they know that it's a smart business decision to stay competitive in the market, to attract, retain, but also to just actually be an organisation that has supported and embedded and normalised flexibility, because not only of the wellness of their employees, but making sure that productivity is still there, utilising the technology that they've got. And where we're finding that it breaks, if they don't have policies, guidelines in place, the hiring leads aren't trained, the managers aren't trained, but also the employees, and that the employees actually understand what is my responsibility working flexibly. We talk about flexibility being a two-way street. And so, if there is seasonal demands of the organisation or the team, if there's any changes within the business, that employees know that potentially they may have to put that flexible arrangement and be a bit flexible with it to actually deliver what they need to do. Also, that one-on-one coaching, there's still managers and leaders that do really need to understand how to actually work flexibly themselves.
Yeah.
So they'll understand the benefits for it. And we've moved away from flexibilities just for working mums or women. It's actually now about every generation, every demographic.
Yeah.
Everyone is wanting to work flexibly, and it's really proving to be a key driver for 2019.
I think another prediction for 2019 is that there's been a lot of work done by a lot of organisations to embed and normalise flexibility across entire businesses. So where I think a lot of these organisations are going to go is they're not going to rest on their laurels. They realise that they need to continue creating even more sophisticated practices, getting more creative with the types of flexibility. So things looking at job design, job families, organisational design, looking at even property and linking that back into the bottom line and how flexibility impacts that. And also with the research, I think we're going to be looking into more and more around that connectivity between productivity and flexibility, and of course very importantly profitability. So what are those actual impacts now that more and more organisations are actually working flexibly? What are those things? What are the key metrics that we're starting to see? Because we do see so many organisations doing this and doing it well, but I think most organisations would say that they're not where they would want to be, and even those that are early on in their journey will reap the benefits of those organisations that are somewhat down the line.
And I think also that constant, how do we actually capture the data of who is working flexibly and what type of flexibility, and what HRS systems actually supporting it, and whether it's government, whether it's corporate, and everyone's having these challenges. Because you need to actually understand how are your employees working flexibly, what's working, what's not working.
In order to change things, you need to measure it.
Absolutely.
So that you can, look at those milestones. And
Absolutely.
So I think that goes to that whole point of sophistication and really ensuring that people are doing it really well. So one of the main reasons Ariane and I created Flex Ready was mainly because we were asked time and time again by so many organisations on helping them to embed and normalise flexibility. And so when we were having these conversations with these companies, they kept telling us, they want to get flex ready. Like it was actually our clients who were the ones who kept using this kind of terminology. And because of that client demand, we went away and wrote the program, which essentially is the entire end-to-end ability to embed and normalise flexibility, everything from convincing and influencing and persuading the CEO, the C-suite boards around flexibility, through to running workshops with HR, talent teams, employees, and everything in between. So it's been quite an interesting journey for us, wouldn't you say?
And I think, whether it's writing the policies, the guidelines, understanding what will actually work for that particular organisation. We've done a lot of leader training because we don't want to add on any extra stress to leaders. And a lot of leaders say to us, this is just another layer that we have to measure, and we've actually got our day job and we need to do it. So I think with Flex Ready, it's supporting organisations wherever they are on the flex journey. And we've just been so fortunate to be in so many organisations at every stage of that journey. And finding the key best practices of what's working and what's not working, and actually tailoring the program throughout the whole year to really get an understanding of what are the best practices for flexible work.
The other thing that I found really interesting in the journey of creating Flex Ready and running it with so many organisations is also all the research we've put into it. So there is so much information, not just the lived experience of what we see in these organisations, and they've been very generous with allowing us to utilise their lived experiences, but also the research that we are able to then share with other organisations that we've read about, and the statistics and the data and the metrics. And so we are continually evolving it because there's always new information. People are always improving the way that they're doing things. So the program is not static at all. It's actually ever evolving, and
it's quite flexible.
It is, without trying to put a pun on it, but it's true. It's a very flexible program, but we're really excited because where the program is now compared to the beginning of the year is that it's such, I would say it's a really robust and a really sophisticated piece of work that we know works because we've embedded it in quite a number of organisations. And we'd be really keen to talk to you if that's something that you might be interested in. So all you need to do is just to connect in with us at our website through www.flexcareers.com.au, and you can contact us through there.
Fantastic. Thank you.
And thanks for your time.